Hi guys, Troublemaker here, and I'm casting today a match between two people with very unusual names. First, in the blue, our NATO player, General McPenis, and his opponent, a Major General with a weird Asian name. Not sure who this is. I've tried to translate these characters, cannot for the life of me figure out who it is. I'm hoping it is somebody like Topo, one of these old great players, and hopefully they're making a comeback. And weirdly enough, this is also not the first time I've ever casted General McPenis. I've actually casted his game in Wargame Airland Battle as well, so he's not new on the scene either. This is not a matchup of newer players. This is a matchup of high-rated players. And this, of course, will be right off the ladder. So we have a great little map here. I feel as though this is one of the few ones that is quite balanced. You have multiple flanks of attack. You can go from Alpha around this road here to Charlie, and similarly from Delta Echo into Hotel. There's also quick routes across these bridges here, which means that you will need to have a nice amount of combined arms. Infantry are going to be great in the towns, but along these edges here, you will probably want some at least medium tanks holding these off from enemies crossing that bridge. And it works out very interestingly. Now, looking at beginning tactics here, General McPenis has gone with some links, just one squad, no anti-air helicopters here, and going to be using mostly ground-based approaches. Whereas this player, this Chinese player, who I'm going to be calling Topo, I don't know who he is using smaller, high-quality units. And okay, here we go. Lots of vehicles coming into play. There's that medium tank we're talking about. Or maybe that's a light tank. Anyway, only one helicopter infantry. And, you know, you have to balance out your helicopter infantry with your not helicopter infantry. Just because they're very expensive. You can get regular infantry squads for 20, 30 points cheaper than you can for a helicopter infantry. And unfortunately, those helicopters, they don't have that much of a use after your initial push. Most of them that you're getting only come equipped with a MMG. Higher quality ones, of course, are more expensive. And as we get the game underway, players are going to be moving their places in their pieces, I should say, into play. And by the way, we just had a huge Steam sale, so no doubt there are a lot of new players in the game. If you are a new player and looking to learn the game, you have come to the right spot. At the end of this video, there will also be other resources for newer players to check out and see more wargame related stuff. The KA-52, of course, is a fictitious unit, mostly fictitious. It is a seed helicopter, has 2 anti-radar weapons, and it's generally a pretty solid opener. You go with this seed weapon, and then you mix it in with some sort of helicopter with rocket pods. And by doing that, or sorry, not rocket pods, missiles. And by doing that, you'll wipe out a lot of air units and a lot of ground units. It's also going to allow you to get in units. I think this is the Spetsnaz GRU. This is a sniper unit, is the Spetsnaz GRU, and it can go pretty long range, remain largely undetectable, and be really awesome. Now this KA-52 is in fact also a recon helicopter, so it will be able to spot some things that are in the open for this Spetsnaz GRU to snipe out. And he's not completely defenseless either. He also has a rocket weapon here, so you can use. And he's actually going to use these Spetsnaz GRUs hyper aggressively. Now, this was at first very weird, but now given the stats, this has become almost standard strategy, and they're really good. They're going to pick up any kind of infantry that will get close, and they're also a recon unit, so they're going to actually be able to spot that. Here comes a Ural. This is a spotting Ural 375D. Going to come across that bridge, see what's waiting for him, and now he knows there are in fact going to be 2 tows. Now, in terms of resources, this is a huge loss for General McPenis. He's lost 2 missiles for nothing. However, General McPenis did grab a large number of bases here, so he's going to be a little bit behind in terms of pushing, but a little bit ahead in terms of points. And we're seeing now that Topo, like I said, I'm going to call him Topo. I don't know if that's his real name. Topo is in fact going to rally some more commands, just trying to get back into position. All the while he's doing a little push. He's expanding, getting more bases, and he's pushing at the same time. And that way, if the push fails, he has more bases, more resources. His opponent is not going to be likely to attack him because of his need to hold this position, a little bit of terror, but he'll also have more bases. And these toes are actually in a really great position here for some amazing side damage shots. And here we go, the BTR ZD Skred Snaps are tearing apart these Yagras. Let's see if these VDs can get very far. Now, this is a little bit out in the open. Artillery barrage just completely crippled this, but now with the ridiculous number of Beagles and actually just Beagles coming through here, this should get relatively cleaned up. The only thing that's kind of scary here, of course, is the T-72B, which will have that awesome medium cannon fire and be able to wipe out a lot of these vehicles very quickly. And this is what we're saying about combined arms being very powerful here. There's also this Leopard AS1 Plus, just because they want to screw us over in terms of positioning. Also doing a little bit of anti-vehicle fire here. The T-72B gets one of them down. Probably going to have to pull that back soon. He's running out of those awesome rockets or missiles, the SALH type, which are actually the exact same thing as Saklos in every single perceivable way. And if you're newer players to the game, how these missiles work is pretty simple. They lock on to the target, they fire, and they have a path. If you can interrupt that vision with your unit, you can make that missile stop firing on you. So when a missile gets fired, you simply pull back your units, and the missile will miss 100%. However, if you don't, it's got a very, very high rate of fire, and it will become very easy for it to wipe you out. So, in the backdrop of this push here, we can see that Topo has expanded twice, taken 2 points, neutralized this advantage here that General McPenis has had. He's done the push, and as you can see, as was the prediction, General McPenis is not in a position to actually push right now. And in fact, he's probably a little bit further out. Because these Spetsnaz crews came into play, they're in a position to hold off his town from any potential assault. And he can also put a command here at Echo because he has secured this forward base. He's going to move a Gorno Strelki. These are... I find them pretty crappy, but a lot of people love on these Gorno Strelki. They do have that AK-74 and the PKM, so they can deal a lot of anti-infantry damage. I tend to favor more like this assault engineer, the napalm launchers, because you're basically going to be defending this town off against infantry, and if they bring vehicles or tanks, well, you have these Spetsnaz crews here with their heat weapons. But we'll have to see what Topo will be doing with this. These rocket pods, of course, are area of effect damage, and they do, in fact, do lots of splash damage on these units. And he can just go refill this, bring this back in, use it, rinse and repeat. And weirdly enough, Topo's gotten a BTR 80A behind enemy lines. Not entirely sure how he did that. I assume this way somehow, just sneakily getting around. And yeah, you can already see the range of these Spetsnaz crews in position to play here. You have to pull back to the assault engineer because they're getting sniped out. So he's going to have to rethink all this. The UAZ 469U going to come in here. This is a 100-point command. This is the cheapest of the cheap. It's a command jeep. In previous expansions, actually, there was a whole meta game around what sort of command vehicles you would get, and in Red Dragon, it's actually all come down to whether you get the command jeep or the command infantry. There's no need for command armored vehicles or command tanks anymore. They've kind of just slipped away. By the way, excellent positioning here by Spetsnaz BMF. He's going to be able to use this to snipe off any infantry that come forward. He has actually turned off his other weapon because he only wants to use snipes. And Chumat firing double rockets here at a BTR-3. Will he pull back in time? So it looks like both were misses. Yeah, both were actually misses. And here we go, another set of fire here. And the BMP-3 is actually pretty potent little vehicles, and this should get them, yes. And one, as I said, goes squirrely. The target died, so he therefore lost his target. So great little defensive position here by Topo, and he will begin bleeding out General McPenis, who is now in a position where he has to actually capture Foxtrot very, very quickly, or he'll lose his lead. He does, however, have a position in Foxtrot, so he's going to be able to put a command here, which he's doing right away, and he's going to go ahead and use that infantry command. And there's a few spots you can put your infantry here that are pretty useful. Not a lot of people expect it to be up front, so you can put it up front to kind of like countermand them. But the absolute best positions are usually in these corners, like right here. And if you have a force over here, you can put it just like right here in the corner. And yeah, they won't be able to hit with helicopters. Recon won't be able to spot it. They won't be able to get it with random bombings or anything like that. So yeah, we're gonna hit the mid game. In team play, there's no such thing as mid game. It just sort of just keeps going on and on and on. But in 1v1, there's definitely a mid game in which both sides are kind of preparing their tactics for the next advance. They've both done their openers. They've had basically even results in their openers. General McPenis was able to push successfully Topo at a Foxtrot, but Topo successfully to hold on to Echo. So they both basically got a pretty even little setup here. And in terms of number of quality units on the map, they're about the same as well. So looks like we're going to see a Cobra come out. And Cobras are a little bit different from the helicopters because they have the double rocket pod. So this is going to be a purely defensive play. He's more or less expecting Topo to do another push. And if Topo were to do another push, he has these double rocket pods to deflect these infantry. He could also be using these against the Spetsnaz crews, which is hypothetical. If you're new to the game, a nice little trick with these, you turn off the minigun. He's not doing it, but this is just the way to do it. Turn off the minigun, and then go with the fire position command. And the rocket pods will fire in the position where you know infantry are. And, ooh, there is a very, very light tank vehicle over here. I call them tank vehicles because they're in the vehicle category and they're tanks. And this Cobra might be getting a little bit too close. They can get sniped out of the air by the Spetsnaz crew, which is a little strange, but it's there. And Mi-24D is actually going to use his rocket pods to do this defensive play I was talking about. See, there's a stun here on the Yager now. This Gornal Strelki will in fact have to go up, though. He wants to tango with this Leopard ASI. And yeah, he lost both his Gornal Strelki. Yeah, it's kind of sad. But it looks like he's going to hold on to a lot of this. Keep in mind the goal for General McPenis is different from the goal for Topo. Topo's goal here is to push into Foxtrot. General McPenis' goal is to push into Echo. And as you can see here, there's a little bit of infantry and tank push coming up here, but it's going to have to pull back. There's just way too many Sackler's rockets here. We have the Leopard AS1 plus sign on this side here, just picking away these infantry, and the Chumats have wiped out most of the vehicles and tanks. We might have to see a lot of artillery come out. And here comes a Fighting Falcon. We're going to actually go across the line of enemy AA here, which is rather risky. And he drops the 2 bombs. This is where the House Bane comes in. Here comes the Deke. Oh my god, just so close. Still loses the unit, though. Yes, you can actually deke out those bombs. They have a path. Your units can't actually move far enough, and usually it involves just jumping from town to town. And once again, here comes the rocket pods. He's going to try and do what he can with them. And these are actually infantry carrying vehicles, so that's actually a really good use of the helicopters he has. And he's got to pull it back real quickly now. One more shot from the track rapier should do it. Maybe another shot from the track rapier should do it. Oh my god! Gets picked off. And now this Mi-8 MT4 unfortunately has no rocket pods left, and it has no bolt stops. So it's actually just flying to its death right now. All the while we have one BT or a D coming in. I'm hoping that this has Spetsnaz in it. Spetsnaz, of course, are the Soviet choice napalm unit. And no, it's going to be VDV-90s. So looks like very successful push here by General McPenis, able to actually secure this bridge area here. And that means that he'll be able to actually put in a command relatively soon into this location and grab it. And yeah. These Ka-52s are on the prowl. The Vulcan here is not, in fact, a radar-guided weapon. So there's not really anything that he's going to be able to pick off. And mostly going for infrareds here. Infrareds is, I hate to say it, but it's the choice of a poor player. The good players will choose a radar-guided weapons and just turn them off. The average players will go with the average players will go with the infrareds because they want to avoid dealing with the SEAD seaplanes. And actually forced to pull a command here is Topo, and this could be a big problem for him. I see he's repositioning it. He's repositioning it so it's behind these towns, behind the line of sight of the potential advance, so that if this vehicle were to come in, it would not get free shots off. Now, if he had artillery here, and it does not appear he's gotten any artillery at all, but if he did have artillery here, he could just fire on this. Alternatively, you could bring a bomber, or a rocket plane, or a missile plane around the long path to get in there. But you'll lose vision after time, so it's a big time play. And Topo just continues to be very, very aggressive. And like, if you're wondering why I'm calling him Topo, there are these two great players. One of them was Topo. They were Japanese, and the game is very Eastern European dominated. And when the Wargame Cup came around, they dominated, the two of them, and then they stopped being seen. I suspected because they changed their names. Speaking of which, we have some Spetsnaz coming in here, and they will be a much better choice than previous units, but also very quickly getting wiped out. There is a vehicle in place here, able to actually get some good shots off here. And unfortunately, they're kind of all coming in too slow. VDV 90s coming in here. Czechoslovakian unit, apparently from Russia. That's right, because this is a Soviet deck. Yeah, going to be able to breach in successfully. Will he be able to hold the position? Who knows? With the massive amount of smoke here, there's a pretty good advantage here. The smoke stopped this Jager from pushing in for just a little bit, so he's going to be able to possibly get a foothold here. And MiG-27 comes in and tries to pick off a tank, and does so. And now we have the Fighting Falcons with their bombs. Bombs are very good. Don't know what he bombed, though. So VDVs are getting thwarted again. Probably going to have to pull back these Spetsnaz crews. And just a number of Eagles. And these guys are not going to stop. They're going to keep going. Now, Spetsnaz crew can get one or two of these killed before it dies itself if he stops and aims his rocket launcher. It does not appear to be the case, and he will continue forward. There's a single Mi-24D here, which is in desperate need of resupply. There is a full forward operating base here. In any game in which you have a full forward operating base at the end of the game or mid-game, just remove it from your deck. You clearly don't need it. And he's going to drop these super, super powerful Panzer Grenadiers, and 19 of them surviving so far with some Jagers. If he can get him to the towns here, he's going to be able to secure this. He should have already put a command here to start bleeding out his opponent. This is basically the first time that General McPenis has been aggressive here, and very similar results to Topo here. Struggling to get these infantry in. He might be able to get one of these Jagers in, but he only actually needs to get one of these in. Basically, he has to be able to get into a base and then leapfrog into this base here. This base is right next to this bridge. As soon as they cross the bridge, they will feel rocket fire. It means that this entire side here is shut down for Topo. And Topo, as these MTLV Visilic, they are an artillery unit, or mortar, more properly, and trying to use them to eradicate the infantry numbers. So with these Jagers here barely surviving, gone. So unfortunately, no big push here for General McPenis with any sort of success. And it's back to the drawing boards as two BTR-80s will move in. BTR-80s are really, really cool automotive cannon, and you can put them in great flanks, and they deal with a huge variety of units, despite looking very, very crappy. And they do. Seriously, like, this looks really crappy and generic. And oh my god, oh no, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He's going to go across the bridge. Now, there are two squads here. Each one of them has at least one rocket. There are two vehicles here. Luck is all that's happening here. And looks like luck is going to be on Topo's side. And why I said luck is that basically both would get one shot off with a rocket before they landed. And that could potentially destroy the BTR-80 before it got across. But it looks like successfully getting across is going to be Topo. And these Spetsnaz will be far more effective, way, way more effective than his previous infantry units. And the Mi-24D is going to get a great area on this vehicle here. And MiG-27 coming in, gun running as well, using those SALH rockets. And this is a MiG-27 is one of the if you're making a Soviet deck, you almost always need that MiG-27 because it's so freaking good. It is really, really good. So how does Topo, more or less take this game? He has to get tanks coming down this way and push down this line here through the open. And why this is important is you can stage right here, here, and here, and potentially go for Gulf as well. So it leaves him a lot of options, not just in terms of staging, because he stages here. He can pick up a lot of these units, completely encircle them. You can also put infantry in the woods, like these Panzer Grenadiers, to try and push through this mountainous area into the hotel area and potentially grab this command infantry. But that's a much more long-term play. We have 22 minutes left in the game. That's the halfway point, by the way. And General McPenis showing up with more of these tracked rapiers. Always remember to split up your anti-air units. Spread them out as evenly as possible. You don't want to overkill planes. You don't want to waste weaponry. And you don't want to lose them all to one evil artillery smash. And the BTR-80s are going to go ahead and probe. And they do have a superior range to Panzer Grenadiers, but not by a terrible amount. Panzer Grenadiers, when you look at their heat weapons, it's 525. BTR-80s have a range of 1400. So if he gets too much closer, these Panzer Grenadiers are just going to wipe him. And it's looking that close. Actually going to go ahead and flank with another group. This range here is almost what he needs. They just get a little bit closer. Speaking of which, it appears that a smoke screen has gone down, and we're going to see an infantry vehicle rush happening. This is right here. And this is, once again, kind of strategically poor, but this time with the mortars, he's going to be in a better position. He's going to smoke out these tank positions here, and then move in with his infantry. Now, here's the only problem. There's a Zippo here. And basically, nobody uses the Zippo. The Zippo is a flamethrower vehicle. But with the fire position command and a little bit of micro, it can be very good. And in this particular case, he's using the Zippo to burn these forests so that these VDVs actually have nowhere to go except for fire. And that's where they're going. They're going into the fire. So they'll actually get vaporized without much of a battle. And we're going to see another round of Zippo fire here. And this is actually rather brilliant. It doesn't appear he's doing what I think he should be doing, but it's what I think he should be doing. When this smoke comes, burn the forest with the Zippo. Just burn it. And that way when the infantry show up, they can't do anything. There is a T-72 coming in, spearing the Zippo. Looks like it's going to get stunned, potentially get taken out by the Jaggers. No, it will pull back just in time. But this VDV squad will die, and that'll basically end this little mini push. Probably too small of a push given the specter of what's on the horizon here. And weird, these Hans might be getting taken out long range? No. And Leopard AS1+ hits just as the smoke clears, killing off that tank. And yeah, General McPenis is in a very solid position. He's not exactly bleeding out his opponent. He could have a while ago, but he's not right now. And these Spetsnaz actually too freaking good. They're one of these rare napalm units that actually can do some damage against tanks. And oh, here comes the MiG-27 again. He gets one tank kill. And if you're wondering why I said that the MiG-27 is a must for Soviet players, the answer is simple. It's a 95-point plane here. It does anti-tank damage. It only has to kill 2 tanks to pay itself off. And this one has already paid itself off. And that's just, you know, the first kind of wave. There's more tanks coming in. It's going to have more targets. It's going to do a lot more damage. And yeah, I think as far as Topo goes, his best bet at this point is to try and maintain a defensive perimeter, force a tie. A tie being when the score is too close. And I think he should be using a lot of more defensive-oriented weapons instead of offensive-oriented weapons. This SE-24, for the most part, is an offensive-oriented weapon. The goal of the SE-24, which is a seed plane, is to wipe out these radar-guided anti-air systems. But you would only do that if you're planning to be aggressive with planes. If you're not planning to be aggressive with planes, there's not as much a point. You're better off going with things like napalm and bombers and these MiG-27s, things that will very quickly kill things. And SAS going to get a couple of shots here, maybe. Ooh, half health, 1 shot. I don't know why that ever happens with me. And now we see Spetsnaz actually going to charge into the woods here and try and get rid of this Panzer Grenadier squad. And he could be encircled. The Spetsnaz guerrilla is going to continue moving forward. He's actually forced to bring the Bradley CFB in here. They have that Bushmaster cannon, which, you know, is only going to be a support weapon in this particular situation. And he should get one-shotted, yes. And Track Rapier, both forced to retreat. And here comes that defensive weapon side with an F-15D Eagle. And he's going to go ahead and try and use that to knock out these Spetsnaz. There's a little bit of timing on this. Oh, gone for a completely different target. There's a bit of timing on these bombings. You have to kind of guess where the enemy will be as opposed to where the enemy is. and that's not always so easy to do. And yeah, I guess Topo, being the crazy baller that he is going to continue playing super aggressively. Now with these Spetsnaz, he can go through these woods, go through here, take it as command infantry. It could also be here, here, here. He doesn't know where it is, of course, so he doesn't know what pathing to take. But the point is, this is a much longer-term plan. These Spetsnaz, although one of the fastest infantry in the game, are quite slow-moving. Now with this Leopard AS1 Plus out here, completely in the open, those MiG-27s can come in here and do a lot of damage. He's going to be bringing in the Ka-52, probably going to use that auto cannon to try and do a little bit of damage off these Leopards. And Leopards will retreat only with one gone. And here comes a plane. Actually, it's a SE-27PU. Will he try and run him down? No, he's just going to use that for air superiority, it seems, or possibly a misclick. But yeah, this is kind of where he needs to be. He's cleared out this approach here. Now, this is what's going to be bothering if Topo watches this later. Had he cleared out this route first, all of these pushes into Foxtrot would have been successful because it would have taken out the flanking position. He didn't do that, though, and unfortunately he's going to pay the piper. Now the Spetsnaz is looking to get behind successfully, and will. And Spetsnaz, I believe their optics are not too terrible. Yeah, a medium, right? So that's not too terrible. So they will be able to see this command infantry and will be able to kill them very quickly with those napalm launchers. There is a weird pathing on this map for infantry. You want to stay in the woods, so you would go this path here, through here, up this mountain, and through the backside of these towns here. If you go here, you're going straight into the reinforcement path, and that's not good. This is a much more covered approach. Here comes that F-15D Eagle again, the Deagle. You're going to drop some bombs on the Spetsnaz or VDVs, and looks like the VDVs. Now, here comes the juke and jive. The spread is very large on these bombs, so M1, 2, gone! With the third drop. And it was only one infantry unit, but one infantry unit with a rocket launcher can wipe out one vehicle, which can wipe out one infantry squad. So it's better to be safe than sorry. And here comes his air superiority. A little bit late for the dance. He probably reacted clicking it out. And a Gorno Strelky trying to walk in and do something, but there's a lot of Panzer Grenadiers here. He needs that awesome mortar fire, which is going to happen right away. And this is what I was saying earlier about that defensive play. Like, it's in his interest to have, like, bombers, rocket pods, things that are defensive oriented. And rocket pods will probably save him mostly, but his mortar is running pretty low on supplies here. So it looks like General McPenis is going to go ahead and grab this position again, because there is basically no bombs getting dropped here today. By the way, Spetsnaz successful in wiping out hotel, so Topo is in fact going to bleed out again a +1. By the way, if you, the person with this name here, actually are watching this right now, go ahead and make sure in the comment section to indicate what your name actually is, because I'm just assuming you're Topo. If you're not Topo, I'm so sorry. Anyway, successfully pushing back in here, but there's a lot of fire still in this position. A lot of weakened units here. So he's probably going to have to get some supply vehicles relatively soon. Ooh, SC-24 scared off pretty quickly. No radar, basically no radar guided weapons at all for General McPenis. And the Spetsnaz should get wiped out by these tanks. There's no good reason for the Leopards to lose this engagement. God, these Vulcan cannons are so good. Wiping out a Ka-52? Are you kidding me? That is a huge loss. Those things are what, 100, either 130 or 180. I can't remember exactly. By the way, just have a little bit of appreciation here. He comes in with his Spetsnaz. He kills the command infantry instantly. Now, he could get greedy and continue pushing in here and trying to go for more kills. He didn't do that, though. Instead, he moved his Spetsnaz to the west. Why is he doing that? The reason is because that's the only path the new command can come through. If it's on land, that is. And an Air 1 is also coming through here. This is a very, very brilliant approach. And most players would think that you get greedy and try and go in for more easy kills. Not the case here. There is an AMX13 VTT here to kind of look for this, but I don't think you'll have the optics to see this, and I'm curious, does he see this? He does. He actually sees the links, so he's going to have a pretty relative idea of where this command infantry is going to be. Now, unfortunately, it looks like he's going to swing it around the back, so possibly around here. If I was playing this and I saw that, I saw him moving away, I would assume that he's going to bring it right here in this corner, and that would make a pretty good spot. Whoa, we have the Kai coming in here, the KA-1. Going to try and push him in the sky, and also drop some then bombs, and here comes the push. Now, unfortunately, with that bomb, that kind of wipes out that push. Just doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The number of infantry units here total is very, very low for General McPenis, though. So there's a position to get this HQ section down here and wipe that out as well. But Topo will continue bleeding him out, and that's kind of brutal in and of itself. Did I miss a helicopter go down here? Looks like the command helicopter, yeah, is gone down again. He must have been able to successfully bombard it or something. That is brutal. And I was just going to pull that his Spetsnaz probably into this town this time, and if Topo isn't paying attention, if General McPenis isn't paying attention, this could just fly right over his head. So we have an anti-radar weapon just sliding around, trying to find any targets at all to get. Not finding too much success. So what has changed? Well, this position is still belonging to General McPenis, but there's no tanks or anti-tank vehicles or anything like that anymore. So with a small collection of tanks, he could actually take this ground here. Doesn't know that, of course. He's going to go ahead and try and push into these Panzer Grenadiers with Spetsnaz, it seems. Super high quality unit. This should work pretty well with the BTR-80s if they actually start firing. One of the problems is that bridges are kind of buggy. There's weird line of sight problems, especially when it gets all congested like this. Note there's a vehicle here that can't actually move because there's been so much death and decay on this thing. So yeah, this bridge has become basically unusable right now. There's a huge roadblock, and none of these vehicles can actually really get across. Let's see this badass on this turret gun here, what he does. Yeah, you know, you have to kind of zig and zag through. This is oh my god. Just the kind of game this is right now. Like, this guy's actually stuck. I think. He's in the bridge annex here. But yeah, looks like these vehicles are all kind of stuck on this bridge. He's actually able to get out. Sometimes these vehicles will flip over while still being alive. And yeah, they're a bit that's one of the issues of the game. It's a bit of a mess, and it looks like pathing will cost him way more than he was hoping. When you have a vehicle on its side, it takes bonus damage. He might be able to get in. He probably won't be able to take the position. Here comes the MI-8 MTV. Going to be carrying some infantry, and most importantly, those 40 rockets to fire down. And can he even get these Spetsnaz across? Are they stuck here? Looks like they're actually kind of stuck because there's a little bit of a roadblock here. I'm wondering if this was kind of done on purpose, maybe an exploit of some sort, because now there's absolutely no functional way for him to get across this area. By the way, once again, the newer players of the game, that is definitely something to check out. You know, is there actually a roadblock? Because this is a real logistic war. When so much shit gets killed in a bottleneck, that happens. By the way, Spetsnaz still in position. He's actually going to split them off now, which is pretty wise given the situation. Basically, by showing off these 9 Spetsnaz in General McPenis' mind here, he'd be like, oh yes, I killed that one squad, so I can be safe again because there's no other one. And yeah, that's not the case. And the fear of the Spetsnaz is quite strong. It forced a lot of more vehicles. We have Panzer Grenadiers, 3 Vulcans extra, just to kind of cover the possibility of these guys. Now the Vulcan, I don't believe it has very good optics, so it's got to get pretty darn close. Yeah, as far as I know, little no. That's the basic range. Will in fact get that Spetsnaz killed. And God, this very, very aggressive Topo, just proving to make things work. But General McPenis is going to bring in another few infantry squads, and it's becoming questionable whether General McPenis can actually win this. He is full on 70 points behind. The game ticks at about 1 point every 3 seconds. So after a minute, at a 1 point base, you'll have garnished, all 20 points. So he would need to hold, cancel out Echo, which he should have done a long time ago. He would need to cancel out Echo for about 4 minutes to win this. 3 minutes and a half for a tie, 4 minutes to win. Now keep in mind, he's actually going to go ahead and do that. That's exactly what he's going to do. Now, the only thing about this, and keep in mind, he should have done this a long time ago. The only thing about this is that this becomes very vulnerable to bombings, because the surface area here is very tiny. And I haven't seen Topo do a single bomb yet, so it's very unlikely that he's going to do it. F1, going to fly right over enemy AA. Going to drop those bombs, though. What? Is this a Hail Mary? No, he's going right for the mortars, actually. Not a Hail Mary. And we have another push here by General McPenis across the river, charging over the bridge, seemingly able to clear out the roadblock. Let's see if he creates another one over here. No. Has not done as many aggressive actions as his opponent. And will be able to push across successfully. Now, fun thing about this is that he's in a position to actually charge right into Delta. And generally speaking, when you go across a bridge and you have absolutely no resistance, your best bet is to always take at least one unit, rush into the next zone, see what's there. Information's important. If he has nothing there, you get a free command. If he has something there, you now know what to prepare for. This is a lot of infantry, by the way. A lot of the best units. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and use these vehicles to push forward with them, which is pretty smart. And F1 gets scattered here. SU-27P, you're going to go ahead and grab the kill here. Oh, yes. MiG-27, not going to be very useful right now because there's actually not that many tanks. But he could potentially get this vehicle before he spots the UAZ 4069U command the vehicle. I swear to God, this game is just alphabet soup, just pronouncing all these things and whatnots. And this is a huge push. So he's canceled out Echo. He's moved in with his vehicles into Delta. And now he's got Panzer Grenadiers there. Hypothetically, he could bring a command here and take this. It would be a lot harder to hold, but he could do it. And these vehicles are moving in on the command. The command Jeep is vulnerable. Very, very vulnerable. It is a bad day to be in this Jeep because this Jeep is getting picked to death very, very slowly. And Michael Bay says, what? That's right. Explosions. So yeah, you can continue pushing on with those vehicles because once again, it's kind of a rule. If you find no opposition when you push forward, push further. Push until you find that opposition. If you do not find opposition, you have not pushed far enough. And actually, being crazy, General McPenis is rallying out 4 Cobras. These are those anti-push options because he is fearing right now that there might be a pile of infantry coming out into this position here. And if he uses these helicopter options, he could stop the infantry. He's going to continue pushing with the vehicle because once again, that's just solid play. If you have no resistance, keep going. Unfortunately, Sakula looks like it will in fact pick him off and kill him, but he's gaining a lot of important information. There's nothing in these woods here. And with these helicopters, he'll be able to do a lot of damage. The Shilka will defend, of course, but will it do it in time? Good question. Yeah, so he's these Cobras coming up. And the reason why the Cobras are a good option is because they move very, very quickly, which is very important. And he can use them as part of an all-in push, and he can use them. The only thing at this marker that's of any value is going to be airplanes, artillery, specifically like the big bomber ones like the AT-ACMs or Smirches or Buratinos, and helicopters, just because mobility is a problem when you only have 4 minutes to move. And he's actually going to use these Cobras, probably on these Moto Shrilikis here, just trying to wipe out their numbers. And, Spetsnaz crew. Spetsnaz crew are spotted by the HQ section, which still has its guns on, which means it has been spotted. If this Spetsnaz crew just stops, he should be able to kill us pretty easily. And that would be a pretty big hit. I mean, let's be honest, but oh my god, he's actually stunned right now? This is not good. He has no artillery to fire on this. He actually needs to Spetsnaz crew to get the kill here. He's going to gun run the MiG-27. Looks like he is. MiG-27, of course, is a anti-tank plane, so its guns are not the best against infantry. Back to the main battlefield, an unsuccessful cheese has happened, and the Cobras are moving in. Might try and go for this UAZ. Now, keep in mind, there is such a thing as helicopter damage. Doesn't that get a little bit of damage on that helicopter there? Yes, helicopters can do damage to other helicopters. So he has spotted the UAZ now. He's got to move it, which he's going to move it. He puts down a flag for himself. A lot of people do this. It's not silly. It's just to remember, like, yeah, I totally saw a command there. So he's going to go ahead and drop that down. As soon as this plane goes away, and this is the scary thing, this plane, he's going to go ahead and drop a bomb there. Easy. All the while, it looks like this last Panzer Grenadier squad going to get wiped out. That doesn't change the fact that it's actually a Panzer Grenadier squad right here, and that this command is totally dead. Doesn't change that fact. And General McPenis totally stomping on Topo, who, once again, I'm not even sure if it's Topo. I'm just calling him that because he's got a Japanese name, and or it could be South Korean or Chinese. I'm not totally racist or anything. Did Mongolians use those characters? Maybe it's a Mongolian player. I don't know. But Panzer Grenadiers will in fact get that command kill and become elite and very gooded. And so for the first time in the game, he's actually using this as FOB. And like I said, if you have a full FOB midway through the game, just drop it from your deck. Or use it more often. You're clearly not using it enough. It's not enough of an investment to cost you 75 points at the beginning of the game. And these little tanks are going to try and push in here. And I mean, Topo is doing the kind of plays that he should be doing. That is taking small packs of units to try and be successful. Here comes that bomb. Going to go ahead and try and drop it on this HQ section. There is a Vulcan here. The Vulcan should not be enough to kill it before it drops its bombs off. At this point, this is the last bombing of this SE-24M, so it doesn't matter too much. Will we see any juking and jiving here? No. Looks like that whole HQ section will just evaporate. That puts General McPenis at +1. Generally will not matter, though. Generally will not matter because the score is almost double here for General McPenis. He kind of did what I said he had to do. As if he was just listening to me. And he will probably take this game. So yeah, lovely, lovely, lovely match on the ladder between two sophisticated, stylish, representative players playing NATO versus PAC, which by itself is rather unusual. We've seen a lot of great micro decisions being done, and we've seen a lot of awesome tactics today, which I am overall very happy about. We're just going to see this game unravel very quickly. Yeah. General McPenis is just bringing out all the best possible defensive options. Helicopters are great. Their mobility will allow them to be anywhere. And when your opponent proves to not have any anti-air at all, like as he Shivkas, when he doesn't have a lot of anti-air, helicopters do fine. They're usually pretty garbage, but they'll do fine when there's not a lot of anti-air on the ground. These Panzer Grenadiers have done so well. They have completely lost all of their missiles and are now getting killed slowly by the T-72A. Rather fitting end to this. I don't think he can get across, though. Yeah, he's actually stuck here. See? He's completely stuck on the bridge. He's trying to push some of these vehicles out of the way, which is totally realistic, because tanks are pretty freaking powerful, but it's a very slow process. And before he can get his tank across, it in fact appears he will not be able to get across. Talk about the most even game of all time. General McPenis with 3,770 kills. Topo, once again, might not be his real name, with 3,710 kills. These guys were 60 kills apart. The winner was totally positioning. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Troublemaker. I'll see you guys next week. Hi guys, Troublemaker here, and as promised, resources for newer players to Wargame. So to start, I have my own series of tutorials and guides. They are split off into two sections, one for Airland Battle and one for Red Dragon. The game didn't actually change that much, so definitely make sure to check out both of them. You can do that by clicking on the link image on the left. Next up, we have Rangaroo. Rangaroo is a commentary specialist like myself, and has since branched out into units. Every week he will have a new unit of the week, in which you can see the strengths and weaknesses of every single unit in the game. Definitely worth checking out at least once a week. He also has a lot of other funny stuff. Next up, we have Griffer. Griffer is a very, very high-level player, probably within the top 20 of the game. And him and his clan, WTF, do very, very well in tournaments. He plays games and casts games of high-level players, and he will show you how to play the game. And then finally, we have the friendly Reddit community. Reddit has their own TeamSpeak server. They do one-on-one coaching, and they also are very supportive with any questions you ask on their subreddit. Also worth checking out at reddit.com/r/wargame. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you guys for next week's Wargame.